Welcome to this Shortwave radio channel, and today is a little tips and tricks number 19 on how do and what do you look for when you actually want to buy a shortwave radio. Maybe you have your shortwave radio already and you're thinking of upgrading to something a little better. Maybe you want to buy your first shortwave radio and you have no clue as to what to look for. Well, the next series of tips will all have to do with that. Today is actually how to know if a shortwave radio is the one that you need. And that, to answer that, you'll have to, of course, understand what you want to listen to. Do you want to listen to international broadcasts only and then AM, FM? Do you want to listen to international broadcasts and amateur radio signals, utilities? What do you want in your receiver? Its capabilities of receiving utilities well, or having just the most basic and least expensive radio possible, but that gives you an interesting performance. Well, that's the first thing that you'll understand is you will have a choice of different radios out there. So, for example, you might want, and we'll use images here, you might want just a receiver that has basic capabilities, no single sideband. You're not interested in that. All you want would be something that is, you know, something that gets the international broadcast bands well, AM, FM. Maybe you want to travel. You don't want it to be too expensive. And of course, there are basic models like Texan PL380 that do that. There are other models, PL310ET. There's Radio Wow 108, and there's so many models out there. But the first question before choosing one will be, what capabilities do you want that radio to have? So that will also give you the idea of what type of radio you'll be looking for. You want to have sideband capability. Well, maybe you'll want a little more expensive and more advanced receiver. Like the I think it's PL660 is an example I give here. So you see it here. This is through eBay.com, but these are receivers that have single sideband capability. Now, if you are looking into amateur radio and utility listening, the one thing you'll want is single sideband capability. So that also will change what type of receiver you'll want to buy. If you want to listen to the long wave band, well, you'll want to check out, does it actually cover the long wave band? Is the radio that I have good for long wave, for medium wave? Is it sensitive? We'll look at different ways that you can actually find out what receiver you want and how to know if it's a good receiver, because we'll have several tips once again about this. So, what you will listen to and what you do with it will be important. If you travel, you tend to not have or don't want necessarily a very expensive radio. Will it be plugged into an external antenna? A lot of these portables are not necessarily super good on long wire antennas. They tend to overload. Maybe you'll want to move on to something a little more, a little more basically of high quality, a tabletop radio, for example. Um, it all depends on what you want to have. Do you want it to be portable or not? That also will change what you will want as a radio. Do you want to listen in and have a good radio, big radio with lots of knobs and listen inside? Of course, tabletop receivers have more performance, are more interesting. Yet there are different models. Do you want to buy new? Do you want to buy a used radio? That's also something to think about, especially in the higher end market of tabletop receivers. The portable receivers, I tend to, say, well, you should have a a new radio. They're not super expensive. You can purchase a brand new radio for portables most of the time. The important thing is about battery power. what type of battery power, how will you power that radio, and is it easy to find? One of the things that is cool, there are some radios today that have their own lithium-ion rechargeables within the radio. That's nice, but there's one problem with that. In a place where you haven't the capability of charging it, it's nice to have a radio that actually also accepts standard AA batteries, for example. They are available everywhere. So I tend to prefer a radio that will have its own, possibility of having AA batteries or AAA batteries, because if I'm somewhere and I got no more power, well, there's usually a place not very far where you'll be able to buy some batteries. If you have that lithium ion battery that's rechargeable within the radio, it's nice that it has it available. But when there's no more battery power and you're in the middle of nowhere, you will be stuck with a radio that doesn't do anything because you have no way to charge it and it doesn't accept regular standard batteries. So there's a few things like that you got to ask yourself. And in the next few tips, we'll talk a little more. The next tip will be how to know if a radio is a good radio or not. What are the references? And that will be the tip for tomorrow. If you enjoy our videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.